Hi everyone, my name is Barbara. Welcome to my channel, Write in the Woods, where I share my love of journaling and stationery. Today I'm going to share with you a type of journal that you could keep. Again, thinking that most of the people that will be watching these videos are fairly new and are looking for maybe some other kind of journals to keep. This is a fun one. I'm going to share book journals or book review journals or just tracking journals, whatever, however you'd like to call them. What did I call mine? I didn't even title it. Oh, book review journal. This is a book review journal. Um, all right, so first of all, when you find a journal that you would particularly like to do, because I'm going to share several over the next couple weeks, or even this week, who knows, maybe I'll get them all videoed. What I did, once I heard of a journal that sounded like it might be fun to keep, I went online and watched people and got ideas and made a list of various kind of pages that you could make for such a book. So, book journal. What kind of pages are people doing in a book journal? And there are many, lots and lots and lots. And then I just picked the ones that I liked, the kind of pages that I thought I could keep up with and put them in the journal. So this is just one way to keep a book review journal. And I do have another kind of book journal that I'm going to share with you. I started with this one actually, and this one takes a little more explaining, but I will do this. So if you're an avid reader, you might want to keep a book journal. Just a way to track what you read and maybe add some reviews, how many stars, and things like that. So this is the third year. I can get more than 1 year in a book because I don't write pages and pages of reviews. Usually it's just a little snippet, you'll see. But I will share the pages that I've liked. And again, go on and search for people who keep book journals, all right, or reading journals, all right. The other thing you should know is that Archer and Olive, these are both Archer and Olive journals that I'm showing you, has a journal that's already pre-printed with everything in it, so you don't have to create pages. You can just fill in the pages with your information about the books you read. All right, so this is my 2026 book reading, books that I'm reading. Obviously, I just like to decorate. This is all Archer and Olive washi tape and stickers. Okay, because not only do they have a book that's already printed, they also have some nice stickers that go along with for a book journal. All right. So some pages that I really liked was a reading challenge. So like how many books I want to read in a year, and then to keep a tally. And you can make this. I have 50. Let's see if I get to 50 this year. I'm behind. All right. So it's halfway through the year and I'm at what? I don't know, 15. So I'm a little bit behind. So you can do these boxes however. You could do it down in a line. You could just have checks, however you want. I just made 50 spaces with numbers in them, and then I color them in with my ratings. So if it was a 5-star rating, it would get a blue. I haven't read any blue ones yet. 4-star ratings get that fuchsia color. Green is a 3. Uh, a pinkish purpley color is a 2, and a 1 is not so great, or it was terrible, or I didn't finish, which would be black. Haven't had any of those yet either. So mostly 4s this year. So again, a reading challenge. And I had read 40 books, though I have 50 slots, just in case I have a wild hair and start really reading. The other thing you can do for a book challenge is like a bingo, or just have boxes with certain things to put in there that you can check off. It kind of helps me know what to read next. So this is like finish. I have a book that I've started. I haven't finished it yet, so it's finish that book. A local author's book, historical fiction, which is my favorite. A book before I die, because in the back here I have a list of, whoops, that's not it, but back here in the pocket I have a list of books you should read before you die. And so I try to read 1 or 2 of those every year. A top in 2025 book. A friend recommendation book. That one's skim my to be read books because I had a pile of to be read books. I finally just gave them away. All right. So I won't ever fill that one in. Other country is top book, and that can be currently or from a long time ago. Those have been interesting to read when I've done that. A top book of 1962, the year I was born. A mystery, historical fiction. A book with the name Barb in the title, my name. A recommended book. Reread a favorite book. Something on Scottish history because I'm going to Scotland. Stephen King. I don't know why. I used to read him all the time. I haven't read him in decades. And I thought, well, let's pick up a book and see if they're still as scary. So a Stephen King book. It says a book, the back of the book, of this book list. So in the very back, I keep recommendation lists of, I don't know, things that were top or historical fiction or something I saw on Instagram that somebody recommended. So I keep a list, and then as I read it, I can mark that box off. All right. So read one of those, which I obviously did. A biography, which is definitely not my genre, but I will make myself read one. A seasonal book, back of the book, a recommendation. The one with library in the title, historical fiction, and about a cat or a dog. All right, so you can make any kind of categories you want in here. And you don't have to have this many, but it helps me pick books occasionally when I'm not sure what to read. I'll go, oh, let's find a top book of 1962, and then I'll read it. The other fun thing you can do is bookshelf coloring in books to keep track of how many books you've read for the year. This is actually a sticker. So there are companies out there that will sell already made up bookshelves, and then you can just color them in. Very easy. You could go on Etsy and type in bookshelf tracker. Okay, so that's kind of fun to fill in the books on the bookshelf as the year progresses. This one I like too is figuring out my top book for the year. So I take the winter months like January, February, March, and I pick my favorite 2, and then I break it down to 1. I do the same thing for spring, and then I do the spring one against the winter one against the spring one, which I haven't, we aren't there yet. And then I pick the top of those 2. And again, it's just me and what did I think? And I thought, oh, I like that one better than this one. And I do that for summer and fall till I come down with 2, and then I pick my favorite book of the year. And then I found these little look like library cards that used to be in the back of library books on Etsy, or not Etsy, sorry, Amazon. And I just paste it in there, and at the end of the year I will write my favorite book and probably paste a picture of the book here. And then I get into, oh, nope. I guess because this is the first time I've done this one, keeping track of what books I actually read in each month. Okay, so we're still in June. Obviously, I don't even know if I finally finished this book, which I think I started in December. So I was very slow at reading in January and February. All right, so that's another one that you could do. But again, you're going to see tons of ideas. Pick the ones you like, ones that you think would be fun to keep track of. I just thought, well, this might be kind of interesting just to help me with this over here, because sometimes I forget which books I've read in which months. All right, if I don't get to it right away. All right. And then it starts with little reviews. And as you can see, I don't write a big review, but I do, write the author and the title, when I read it, and then just a little blurb about it, mostly so I can remember what it's about. But I will give it a rating, 1 to 5 stars. All right. All right. And then just for every book. All right. This book is a series. So I'm somewhere at the end of this series. And then it just keeps going. All right. And this I will decorate as I read. Sometimes I decorate ahead, but most of the time I'll do it as I read. So that's an easy book to keep. Again, find what things you like, what things you find interesting and might be fun for you to track in your book reading. All right, you could track how many 4-star books you do, whatever. All right, so that's the book review journal. So I started this one first. Sorry, I gotta clear my throat again. Because in 2008, I had written down I wanted to read 1,000 books before I died. In 2008, it's almost 20 years ago. Right, and I had started a list. It was on a piece of paper that was just floating around. I've lost the list. I don't know what books. I couldn't. It was, it just like I lost it. And so then I just never thought about keeping track until like a few years ago. And I thought, well, I'll just put it in a notebook and keep track of my 1,000 books. But I've reduced it to 500. If I can read 500 more books by, in 10 to 15 years, I'll be happy. So this, I called it a reading journal, but this is an index page. Right. Then I tried to remember all the books I read between 2008 and 2023. Okay. And I did pretty good. My whole concept back then was I read a lot of self-help books, and I wanted to read more fiction books. And so I was trying to get away from self-help books. That was the whole goal in 2008. So now I hardly ever read self-help books, which is just fine with me. So as best I could, I remembered almost 200 books, 180 books that I read from 2008 to 2023. That's kind of sad. But then I rated them, and I picked my favorite one, which of course was Harry Potter, which I read with my daughter when she was in school. So probably my favorite book, probably one of them all time, Harry Potter. All right, so most of the things you see in here, I printed out on paper and then stuck it in this journal. So it just was going to be quite monotonous to draw lines by hand, and I just found it easy to create it on the computer and print it out and stick it in this book. So that's what a lot of this is. I had oldest book that I'd read, the weirdest book that I read. Again, you can document whatever you want in your books. All right, so then I just started the ongoing count of my 500 books in 10 to 15 years. So this is as of 2024. All right, so then I was able to start keeping track. I really like historical fiction, so I was trying to document that, how many of those I've read. So again, how many have I gotten to? 117. All right. So I'm almost in 3 years caught up to my almost 100 and what it was, 80 from almost less than 16 years. Yeah. So, all right. So there's other things in here, just in case you're wondering what these say at the top. It says date read, title, author, number of pages, what kind of genre, fiction, historical fiction, nonfiction, young adult, whatever genre you want to keep track of, if you want to do it at all. The country or year it was published, or country and year it was published, and then its rating. All right. Now, if I didn't finish it, which there are some books in here I just wrote DNF. Did not finish. Some books I start and I just don't like them and I stop. All right, so I've got all of this laid out for when I get to my 500 books, right? Hopefully I'll fill out all this. But there's some other pages back here. Again, these were things that I got online of other people's ideas that I really liked. Well, maybe not this, but so even during the year, I'd keep track of just the books. And what I was doing was just keeping track of the books and not like what I thought about them, or I didn't have anywhere in here to write a little blurb to remind me what that book was about, which is why I started this other one, so I could write a little blurb. I just didn't leave any space for that. So this is just, again, a list for 2024. Put my favorite, some stats, like how many fiction versus nonfiction books. Okay, so I think you get the oldest book read, number of books I read, number of pages, fiction versus nonfiction, and how many 5-star books. I'm a hard rater. I am. Okay, when it comes to books. All right, so this is 2025, 2026. See, it's ongoing. I haven't even decorated that much. I will at the end of the year. And then I'll fill out all the stats, number of books, number of pages, oldest book read. All right. So I have set this up for, I think, 15 years. 2033. 2033. That's probably 10 years, but I left extra pages in case I needed to add some more. And then I have some other categories back here, like series of books, keeping track of series of books, just in case I have not finished a series. I can go back and read them. All right. Extra space, because I do have another couple series I need to add to here from this year. Then historical fiction time periods. Since I like historical fiction, it was interesting to go and kind of recall what eras I had read about. Not much in ancient times or Middle Age. So I've been trying to add those to my list of things to read. But just a rough sketch of what time periods they were in. Okay. I don't know if you want to know the categories of that. Again, I set this all up ahead of time. 600 plus page books. To me, that's huge for me. So any books that I've read that are over 600 pages go on here. Reading around the world. I have really enjoyed reading books from other countries. Though it's like maybe one a year in the last 3 years. So it hasn't been from a lot of places yet, but I keep trying. All right. Let's see. Mexico, Japan, England, Scotland, China, Sweden, Australia, and Germany. Those are the only countries I've gotten so far. Probably Canada, too, somewhere in there. Okay. Books to read before you die. So again, actually, this is where the list is. All right. So I just printed it offline, books that you should read before you die. And as I read them, I write them down in here. And I think that's it. Oh, no. My favorite fiction books. And then my favorite nonfiction books. All right. So like self-help books, which ones have I found the most helpful? And that's pretty much it. So that is just, this one, you could incorporate some of this into a regular reading journal if you wanted to. I just keep this one separate to see if I can reach my goal of 500 books. All right. Boy, I know that was a lot. Hopefully this will inspire you if you're a reader to keep a little reading journal. It's a lot of fun. It's a way to decorate, but it's also a way to keep track of things. Again, you don't have to decorate at all if you don't want to, and you can be much fancier. You can use all kinds of different kind of things here if you would like. All right, so I highly recommend going and watching and looking at some other people's books, and may you be inspired. So thank you for being here. Write any questions you have in the comments, and I will be sure to answer. And may you be healthy, may you get to write, or may you get to be creative today. And thank you so much for being here.